So I'll put this up. But yeah, we are. So this will be the end part for the L6. If people have questions or want to add anything, please feel free to. But now we're actually going to go talk about the new bannings. I'm just going to put it up. If it works, there we go. So these are in effect as of the August 12th. I heard a little bit of confusion about that. It's not banned on the 30th. It's August 12th. I don't know if that was
Otherwise
me.
known as when set drops.
Yes. Which is, I think that's pretty odd. They've never done it like that before. I remember usually they're done in the middle of nowhere.
Sometimes they've done a ban that happens, when the set drops or something along those lines. Like when Opus 15 dropped, they basically had the blanket ban that happens in that case all at the same time. So
Yeah.
that's when they had the banning on Dogard, the banning on Mune, the banning on Stern Leonis, and the restriction of Sophie all happening at the same time there.
Yeah. So from the word of God themselves, Kageyama. So standard will be losing Marcherie on the 16th. No, 16th. Did I get that? 12th. Blah. I just read it. So we're losing Marcherie on that date for standard. L6 is losing Marcherie and Amber. L3 is losing Amber. So Marcherie's... Oh no, Marcherie loses in L3. I don't really pay attention to L3. Oh, they have a different date. I didn't realize that. But yeah, so...
Also, on set drop, Marsha is no longer in L3, so that's why she's not been in L3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so because Opus 14 will rotate out of L3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, sorry. The thing is, I didn't realize this is a different section. It looks like it's still part of the top because of the way they have Mastery, and this is their explanation. But yeah, so if we go down into it, Mastery's explanation is, aside from the sheer power of the card, it has a non-eligible impact on the balance of EX bursts, so we have determined that the card has too much influence, not on deck construction, but also on the game content. I have mixed feelings about that line. We have determined that More Soiree deck has become significantly strong relative to the other decks in L3 and L6 composite formats. We arrived at the decision to ban Alba, because yeah, they're just decapping one of the most powerful restricted decks out there currently. Additionally, we're paying particular attention to the following cards that could distort the balance of the tournament scene in the future. So cards that are on the watch list are Sildra and Bismarck, Lord of the Mist.
Don't you touch my Sildra.
I don't think they need to, especially with Marcherie gone, to be honest.
I mean...
Be fair, pretty much every single water deck that does anything in the game, like, basically what Sildra allows you to do is it allows you to cheat on pretty much everything that you would do in deck composition because you have the copies of Sildra. For example, a normal deck would probably run somewhere between 15 and 17 backups. Sildra lets you get away with running 10 to 12 because you can just search for them. Sildra also lets you take advantage of the Category 5 synergies as well, because if you've got, some interesting cards that you want to find
all of the 2-cost backups that generate a crystal are Category 5.
Yes, they are. In addition to that, Bart's Boko, both of those cards
searches
are Category
both of
5.
them.
It searches both of them at once, so all you need is 2 extra win cards in your hand, and all of a sudden you're playing the game.
Oh, that's
Guardians, it grabs Auron and puts it in bin for you, and grabs, Sarah to search Princess Sarah. Yeah. Sildra is so good.
Sildra is definitely a card that is deserving of being on the watch list, purely because it basically lets you cheat in deck construction.
Yeah, but I think on some level we kind of need what was I gonna say? We need a card that at least helps combo on some level.
Yeah, but every other searcher does that.
Yeah, like every single
this
other...
one does it for no reason twice.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not using it properly.
Yeah, like To be fair, as far as like actually reading a card goes, it is technically still like, because it's still a summon, it's technically still quote unquote CP negative, because you're spending 4 CP to get 4 CP.
Yeah.
But you're discarding a summon, so that's 2 CP there. On the same token, though, when you've got cards,
pieces.
Exactly, and if you've got cards like, and if you got cards like Maya in your deck as well, all of a sudden you've turned like -2 CP into +3 CP. So if like cards like there are so many cards around the power of summons. Less so now with Mastery, but there's just so many cards that do stuff involving summons, especially in water, that Sildra is just a card to permanently watch out for when it comes to a summon.
Oh, I do agree with that. It does need to be watched out for. I know it needs to be kept an eye on. I don't know. I just don't feel it's as scary now as it could be. Like, if I'm comparing to, like, the Thaumaturge Gesper, the Doga, I don't think it's as prominent. But maybe that's just for now. The fact that it's just not as bad now.
Well, in saying that, Mono Water Summons was a deck for quite a while, thanks to Japan. So,
yeah. Well, we have on screen the 2 cards that are, one's obviously being banned in Standard, the other's being banned in L6 and L3. Ignore that. Don't know why. My thing's... Okay, but yeah, so... Mastery, there, makes summons cost 1 less. Remove 3 summons from the bin to do one of 3 things. Draw a card, choose a forward, return it to its owner's hand. Or the next summon you cast costs 3 less. Very powerful. I think I was more shocked by the forward version, Stern. I understand why Mastery got banned. The problem is I feel it's going to create a bit of a power vacuum that's going to make some strong decks now just it, unless the next set does something about it.
I think that Mastery... They at least elaborated on it properly, but I feel like people wanted it banned for the wrong reasons with Mastery.
That I would agree with.
It's not broken. It is not too strong. It is not too powerful. What it is awful to verse. It is horrible, horrible to verse. Whether you win or lose, and you can win. It's not like dominating every game you have with it. You can win, but the problem is, it's still going to take you an hour and a half. Like, it's not... It's just not fun to verse.
Yeah, and
that's why I'm happy to see Mastery banned.
Yeah, and that's the same reason initially why, like, the early bannings started happening, like the Thaumaturge and Gesper. The whole reason those cards were banned wasn't so much because they were extremely powerful, it was because they were extremely unfun to play against.
They didn't like what the game was becoming.
Exactly. And
yeah. That I agree with Mastery. Yes, that's how I feel about
Mastery was one of those cards where it did just warp the format around itself to an extent. Like, you could play a Mastery deck and, you know, win every single game, but are you going to have the most fun? No. Is your opponent going to have any fun at all? No.
Is everyone going to be waiting for you when the timer goes off to finish game 1?
Yes.
I disagree. I disagree with that. If you know how to play the deck properly, you should not go to time. I played the Earth Water Stall deck. I went to time once in the entire season I played it. The mill one. I played mill, and I never went to time except once.
But look,
you do get those people
a good 80% of games I've seen with Mastery, and that's what I mean by she's so fun to verse. If I'm doing stuff that's proactive against Mastery and coming back, that extends the game, because all she does is stall if she's not winning.
Oh, she's a fog. She's a fog card. That's essentially what she does.
Yeah, it's 80% of games will go to time at least in game 2.
Yeah.
If it's a best of 3.
Well, I had a rule that if I could not play that deck without going to time at my locals, I was not playing it at the higher level, because I want the games to finish properly. And I think that's a good way to look at any deck that you're playing that takes a long time or is a stall deck. You need to, on some level, go, if I can't play this in an adequate time, I probably shouldn't be using it in any big events.
I think another reason that I want to just sort of put out there for Marshery as well is that the decks that it went in, like the most powerful versions would be like the Mono Water Summon deck or the Rydia decks. Now, this doesn't seem like it would be incredibly relevant until you realize that Marshery is Job Princess. And that is important because both of those decks run Sarah, and if they play a late game Sarah to find the Marshery, then at that point it's just, you know, why are you even playing the game? It's like, it's not so much the parts, like each individual part of the card, it's all the parts that make the whole.
Yeah, it's... The other thing that also I think is important to look at is the fact that... what's the word? What's his name? The Fire Starter card from the one before. Braska?
Braska.
Yes. Braska's come out, and that has changed Marshery's usability by such a huge amount. Like, that card has made Marshery more usable in more different decks than anything else. Because before, I would only see Marshery in Mono Water, Earth Water, and maybe Mono Fire summons. But then... yeah, and yes, I actually didn't see much of those, to be honest.
Marshery deck.
Yeah, I actually did.
Wind Fiona loop.
See, I didn't see the Earth Wind one as much, but that could have just been my meta. I heard about it, but I never really saw it. But as soon as Braska come out, it's just like, cool, we can do a bunch of more stuff with Braska and with this next to each other. Even if it's not a fire deck, even if it's not this and this. Like, it became a Palporum deck. Marshery Braska Palporum became its own deck as well.
In addition to that, you could also just cram Marshery and Braska into a soiree list and focus more on summons, because the only forwards that you would actually need in the deck would be the soiree themselves. So you have Merrill, Vesvia, the Ice one, I think Irwin, Madame Adele herself, and then Braska and Marshery, and then that would basically be all the forwards that you run, and then you run just like 17, 18 summons and the reasonable soiree backup line. So you're basically getting the best of both worlds in that one.
Yeah, exactly. It was just sort of Marshery equals broken. Oh, and we got our first redeem. All right. I've got the fluids here. Thanks, RB Sire. Always appreciate it. Soiree needs more. Okay, see that. Yeah, Immortal God, get out. Out. I will time you. I will time you out.
All right. Why don't we?
Wait, what?
I was just about to say, why don't we transition into the other card that got banned, and that was Amber, and the reason why that card got banned.
Because of Avalanche. I stand by that.
Because of Avalanche. So you're saying that Amber is paying for the sins of Avalanche?
No. Did you not see what Avalanche was doing with Amber?
Oh, I know it was using the soiree backline to create, a Fire Earth backline for...
Yeah, and then using the Fire soiree to kill. It essentially was it ran in Avalanche to get the Fire Earth backup line and then kill with the Fire side using the... I can't remember his name, that does 3k times equal as soirees. You got out? Albus, yeah. Albus Amber just became splashed in all Earth Fire decks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
A EX burst killer guy.
Yeah.
Avalanche.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing for Amber, and probably the reason that it's it's leaving the format, is because it's the only searching backup engine with the EX burst written on it. So, like, you got Sarah, Princess Sarah, but not for much longer. You've got I think that was the only other backup engine that could search for itself. Amber not only searches for itself within its own set, so Opus 16, it's going to be there for like until like Opus 22 or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be in L6 and all that.
So they basically needed a way to no longer have like a consistent backup engine like that, and Amber was probably the best choice for that. As far as it being a conspiracy to get Samurai to the top, man, I'll be honest, I never really saw any Samurai in L6 doing any damage to any events.
Luso or Burn Braska was just better, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mono Red was just better. L6.
Yeah. Samurai's is cute, but it didn't do half as good as it could in normal constructed.
Yeah, you all of a sudden needed to attack with 3 guys to kill a board.
Yeah.
Not just that as well. I like speaking from first-hand experience. There were actually
spoiler free for now. Immortal God. We'll talk about that after.
Yeah. There was actually 3 or 4 people playing a Samurai deck or a Mono Fire deck at the first L6 event of the season, which was at one of my locals in Wollongong. None of those decks even came close to the top card.
Well, Mono Fire for both L6 and Standard, because my list, the 3 cards in the deck weren't L6, and that was 2 Nail and 1 Selfie to search for Squall.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the deck, though, played... it won me 2 of them. It won my wife 1, and my mate made his first top cut with it. It's ridiculously powerful when it goes off, but does it go off?
Yeah,
that's the thing, that doesn't go off.
But that's also the thing with every other deck. What if you don't draw summons when you're playing Mastery? Not probable, but it'll happen.
I think the big difference between Mono Fire versus Samurais is, do you want to wait till combat, or do you want to do it as an ETB? Now, most of the time, you're willing to wait for combat with Samurais because the damage is significantly higher. But when you're in L6, where that damage doesn't have as high a ceiling, you rather than just go with the ETBs. Because most of the time, in Constructed, a Samurai attacks for about 5k. In L6, your highest is sometimes 3 to 4, whereas playing an Ifrit is 4. So it just became a thing where, because the ceiling was lowered on the combat step damage, you just leaned more towards the ETB ones.
On the same token as well, Samurai actually lose quite a significant piece of their game plan once Opus 17 comes out in L6. They lose the 3-drop Cyan that searches for any Samurai. That's kind of a big deal. Exactly.
It's a very big deal.
They lose their sweeper. Like, sure, you could use the 7-drop Cyan and just start throwing 9Ks around, but losing that sweep is huge. At that point, you just turn the deck into a Mono Fire deck again.
And feel free to challenge me on this, because I do want to hear your opinions on this. I think Mastery being banned will have more of an effect on Samurais being played than the new Samurais in the new set will. I think her leaving brings Samurais in more than any new card would.
I could probably agree with that.
Who was that, sorry?
I think Mastery getting banned helps put Samurais back on the map a lot more than any of the new cards.
Mastery getting banned helps most decks back.
Yes.
Like, come back. Like, Bart's Bocco now can get away with doing its thing because you don't have just a stop it answer. Like, the fun... No, I don't want to say the fun. The really enthusiastic decks now get away with a lot more because of
forward-facing decks.
Yeah.
We'll go with that one.
Well, the things that need pieces to like work together Mastery can just go, okay, I'm going to remove one of your pieces and now your deck doesn't work. Like Bart's Bucko, Bart's is gone, you're like, oh, sick, alright, I guess I lose.
The other thing as well is a lot of the cards that now can... So instead of having a light card that stops a lot of these decks, we now see people needing to turn to, guess what? Lightning, Ice, and Wind for counters for this deck. Or for these decks.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it's very optimistic, but Mastery being banned could have waited till after Opus 17 because I think very quickly everyone's going to be running that new Game 2 Crystals. What's his name?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
That
sorry,
guy.
yeah, sorry. We'll
Yes.
leave that one for later. Yep.
That's
Sorry
we'll
about that.
talk about that
Yep.
one in a moment.
It's-
Spoiler alert.
It's okay, it's okay, we'll get there. We will get there.
I stopped. I got
At the same time as well, Lightning is going to get a phenomenal toy against 2-drops in the new set. So
Oh, and also Lightning, the new Lightning out of the
Collector
Was it a
box?
starter?
Collector
Anniversary
anniversary?
box?
The
Anniversary
anniversary box, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Light Lightning. Damn, she any deck that was running Mastery that still, played the game, is now just go, okay, I'll take Mastery out and put Lightning in. I'm still stopping a guy per turn.
I'm actually wondering if the Light Una will take the spot as well.
No.
No.
Do you think so?
No. It would have done so 9 sets ago when it came out.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I know
like-
Citra and that Una fought against Marcherie for that slot.
when it comes to a boxing fight between Mastery and the Light Una, it's basically having Mike Tyson boxing against me.
Oh, I'm not saying it's the same. I'm not saying it's the same.
It's
Power
no
level.
contest. No
I'm not saying-
contest at all.
I'm not saying that. I'm just wondering if people
Yeah,
will try
my
and
God, yeah.
force. People will try and keep forcing the all summons deck and put something else like that in there.
Well, if you're going to replace the Mastery in that deck, you just put Maya in there instead.
Maya, I would
Nah,
go with
man.
Citra.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason why I say Maya. Now, bear with me on this one. You're no longer reliant on having summons in your break zone. So now you can use Maya to make all of your very powerful summons cost less and color fix them. So you can now just start cramming, high power summons. into your
I
deck.
would heavily disagree with that for the fact that my all summons deck has about 5 other cards that rely on summons being in my bin.
I would also like to point out that, in my opinion, of course, Mastery wasn't powerful because she could have used summons. Mastery was powerful because she got to do things for free that happened to use summons.
Yeah.
That's why I
That's
think
true
Lightning
too.
is the absolute, just straight up replacement, is because you mill $2 guy. Like, you stop their attacker. Like, it does effectively what Mastery was doing, but Mastery did it for absolutely free. All the time.
Yeah, because I'm going to
Mastery
say...
didn't need to be in a summon deck. It was just summons made her.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, I have 3 summons deck, and if I put Maya into them, I'm going to have to replace a good 9 to 12 other cards as well.
I mean, that's fair enough.
Like, I have seen the Maya decks that, just go, screw Porom, screw White Mage, screw Ico, I'm just going to have dumb shit or use it for other colors. So it does exist, but I think most of the ones that were using Marcherie use those as well. Because you just got
Only
more
because
value.
you're running the summons anyway.
Yeah.
as well. Mastery wasn't... The summons weren't there for Mastery. Mastery was there because there was summons.
Yeah, and I think that was the same with Stern. Stern didn't go into a deck because it wanted Stern. Stern goes into deck because it had forwards in it.
Well,
That's
reduced their cost by
yeah.
one. No.
No, but you never built the deck around Stern. It's just he fit into
Oh,
everything.
you did. That's why Chocobos were
Yeah.
good. You just use the
That's-
Chocobo engine because now they're 2
Oh,
costs.
that's
You
right.
don't use
Yeah,
the-
no.
Yeah.
I forgot about that
I
Chocobo
Reduced
deck.
cost by 1. That was the part about Stern.
Like,
No,
the Ice
that's
Fire
right.
for style decks now suddenly became infinitely better because they didn't have to pitch a card anymore.
Yeah, I forgot about... Yeah, those two. Yeah. I completely... that's how long it's been. Damn, it's like... That's right. Those were things. I just saw
Yeah, they were.
a lot of the times I just put Stern into a deck because it was just like, oh, I have forwards in the deck, so Stern must be good, and I had no other light or dark card I wanted in there.
Yes. Yeah, Stern was of a similar vein with Mastery there on the fact that you didn't play, like, the forwards weren't in the deck because Stern was because you had them. Like,
yeah.
And Mastery's the same. You don't play a summon deck to play Mastery. It's Mastery's like, may as well.
Yeah, well, in the case of Stern as well, like, forwards tend to help you win the game, so it was also kind of a lot more dangerous to start running, like, more forwards in a deck because Stern just said your entire deck is cheaper and these are cards that help you win the game. And in addition to that, Stern helps you make them win the game even more. So
No, exactly.
yeah, just like giving your entire field 4K and Brave just for like basically free. Like as a cost of playing the game, you get the opportunity to make your forwards large.
And then kill guys. Or kill guys.
I think what would have made a big difference, I don't know if it would have completely ruined the two cards, but maybe having a timing restriction on them.
You see it now, like Light Lightning. I hate to bring it up again, but
no, it's fine. I'll see if I can put it up.
Light Lightning with like
Once a turn.
as such an easy replacement for Mastery is because it's a nerfed Mastery. It does the thing that Mastery was there to do, which is break up a combo. So now Squall can't attack still because Light Lightning exists.
Damn it, it's not on browser
Physalis
yet.
can't attack now because Mastery, because Light Lightning can just go, okay, dull it. Like,
yeah, like it does help
it
that
achieves
that card
the same
is
thing just fairly.
Yeah, like it helps that that card is, you know, once per turn. But on the same token, like the fact that it just, you know, oh, I'm going to casually interrupt that step. I'm going to casually interrupt that. And on that note as well, I actually want to bring up the Golbez vs Cecil starter kits because I was having this discussion last night about the Cecil. You would like if you were building a mono wind cat 4 list, you would actually just slot that Cecil in place of the Legend Cecil because
Oh my god.
yeah, the moment that you just put that in, all of a sudden mono wind has interaction. Like, what business does mono wind have having interaction? You know, like who said it got that? Who said it deserved that?
That defense, I actually really like the new Fiend, the last set Fina. For that very reason.
Oh, Fina is good. Don't get me wrong, but like, and
I actually built a really fun Sky Pirates list. I think it was.
Oh, don't bring them back.
Just by using Philo as your water CP, you can with your backup line. So you still have water forwards and summons and whatnot. But your backup line be all wind and Philo is your water CP. So you just have to, and Tomage, I guess. But you have to Varn into a Philo. Once you get your Philo out, it's just Sky Pirates with 3 Fina. And you're like, I have Amaterasu now for why? What? Because you have 4 wind backups.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
in a wind water deck, you're just like, fuck water.
You don't get things. Who said you get things?
Like Fina doesn't stop the summons; it only stops the auto abilities from forwards. So you still need like to use Stola there and stuff like that. But
no. But yeah, with your Stola and Fina, it's like I have mono wind has a slightly worse version of Amaterasu.
Yeah, I was actually saying this. I think like every color should have some ish, like doesn't have to be exactly like Amaterasu. Like I actually count Fina, Mist Dragon. I count Fina, Mist Dragon, and Amaterasu as part of a cycle.
Also, you can't do that. Not every color without having such a color restrictive, a color dependent restriction like Fina by having 4 wind backups. They can't make any more like Amaterasu because Earth gets it.
No, I'm not saying exact wording, but something that...
Yes.
Yeah.
But whatever you print, if it's not saying, if you control X amount of this color, Earth gets it, and then Earth becomes too unfair.
Yeah. But I didn't...
the element of color fixing.
Yeah, but I
Oh,
meant
yeah.
something like Mist Dragon that says counter a summon. I mean, they should have some counter effect on our ability, not exactly.
Hand traps.
Yes.
Hand traps.
Yes. I think each color should have a cycle of that, like what Earth, Fire, and Wind now has. And I think Ice should have. I think Ice should have one, just because it's Ice.
Yeah, but the whole idea behind Ice is that your opponent doesn't have a hand anyway, so who cares?
Yeah,
you
but that,
remove their hand traps. That is your hand trap. Is eliminate the problem.
Like, Ice's most powerful thing is resource denial, and Ice does that amazingly well.
Well, well,
most of the time
Looking
you
at
do it
any
at the expense of
20
yourself.
years
You
old.
just do it on your turn. Bring
Well,
back Opus 1 Riku. We just lost Mastery. Let's not do that again.
yeah,
Yeah,
no Riku.
No Riku. Anyway, on my point of, Ice having, being very good at resource denial, yes, it sometimes does combine with other elements, but you can't deny that, being able to just lock down backups and, take cards from hand isn't an efficient strategy.
Oh,
No, it is.
it's
Sure, it combines with
Ice is in a
fire
weird
because
spot
Squall
right now
says,
where giving that stuff to Earth by playing Ice Earth is why it's good. Ice by itself, that's not enough. But it's a very good color to go with another color because you, like Ice Fire Knights you were talking about before, you have the Amis, Susanos, and good fire stuff, and you strip resources. But if you build a full ice deck, what happens when your opponent has no hand and you can't benefit off that? You are just playing vanilla guys, and you just lose because of it.
Yeah, I think as it stands, I love Ice, but as it stands, it is the assist color.
yeah,
It
kind of
high five.
unfortunate.
It high fives with a friend.
Hmm.
Which isn't the worst
Lightning
thing,
can-
but yeah.
Lightning can just go away, I guess.
And this is
No one
kind
loves
of,
lightning.
Lightning can't even assist itself. How can it assist anybody else?
and this is from someone who has been practically. I've won every event for the last month and a half with that Ice Fire deck, and the only reason I lost for the first time today is swing, EX Burst, draw a card. Swing, EX Burst, draw a card. Swing, EX Burst, draw a card. Just like, the...
Yeah, that'll do it.
Because every time it was first swing with Squall, Brave, ready to attack again, draw a card.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yep.
Well, that's gone. I go to end step, hit you with lightning, wait. Oh. 3 times in a row. And he's
Not
listening.
today.
I hate that. Yeah, but 3 times in a row. 3 combats in a row that happened. And I'm like...
Just
I
get better,
was,
Khalil. Jeez.
I was there. It was there. It was in front of me.
What's happening is that you're not skilled enough to have the luck to make sure they don't hit EX bursts.
Yeah, that's it.
That's purely all it is.
Oh no, this player and Immortal God will say is like, today was EX Burst Magnet. Like, I think it was consistently 5 out of 6 or 7 every game. It was kind of impressive. I'm actually not mad. I'm just kind of impressed. Yeah, he got 5 in a row with me.
5
yeah,
in a row.
He did it multiple times. That's the sad part. He did that multiple times, and like, I'm not even upset. I just kind of really, really impressed.
They complained that only 3 went off. How many bursts are you running in your deck to complain that you only hit 3?
But yeah, it was magical to watch.
There you go. As I said, I don't know if you heard me, but I said, oh yeah, was it sorry? And how many sorry?
Oh,
Yep, that's fine. Yeah, no, you're going to hit 5 EX.
Yeah.
Generally in the order of Tyro and or Amber. And then
Elvis at
once
third.
you've got slightly established, here's 2 Elvis. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's Tyro, Amber, the Water Soiree.
Yeah,
Yep.
Vespiar, then Elvis.
Yeah.
And every time in that order. Like, you can't just turn one swing with a Squall and they hit an Elvis and you go, ha. Nah, it's got to kill.
Yeah. It was just something was going on today, and it was hilarious.
Well.
But yeah, so that's the lightning there from the collector, our possible I kind of agree. I think it's... I don't know, I still think... what's it called? Oh, I just said the name. The one that brings a summon back from bin might be a little bit better. But I guess if you're running the Maya deck, then this would be the replacement.
Again, you're not playing Mastery for summons. No one ever used her effect to reduce the cost of a summon. It was to stall a forward. Lightning does that exactly the same for technically 0, but it puts a timer on.
I used it for the reduce. Was I
an
playing it wrong?
Absolutely.
At the same time as well,
Citra's like, oh, get back a summon. Just play Pyram, it doesn't matter. Lightning is achieving the exact same thing that Mastery was there for, which is interrupting.
I also want to note at the same time that Lightning is also a much larger body than Mastery, so it's a lot more difficult to get rid of it.
Look,
that makes me upset. It's for no reason a 9k, and also swings to them, so it also does the other Mastery.
All I'm going to say is, in my defense, 1 cost Adamos, 2 cost Mind Flayer, and 4 cost Big Fanfrit.
Reduces by 3, my guy. Also, all of those summons you can run 2 cost Una back up.
No, I did both. That's why I named them 2 less.
Oh, right. No. I was saying no one ever used Mastery's action ability to.
Oh, action. No. Yeah. No one ever fucking did that. No.
That was basically just extra text on a card that didn't even need to be there. Like, it's flavor text, basically.
I did it once because I desperately needed to cast the Fanfrit to stop losing.
Oh, look, I did it because I intentionally built a 7-cost summon deck, and the entire purpose of it was to cast a, Remora or Leviathan or Medine or the like for 1. That was the entire premise of the deck, but it was not good.
That's just a deck construction cost, like doing it that way.
Yeah, it was.
Regardless. Why don't we have a chat about the Magnum Opus events, because they all happened quite recently, and Kana, you actually just got home from one, if I recall.
Correct.
I am shamed to say that I failed my one.